Guys, I know this isn't what this video is about, but I feel like I just need to update you on what's just happened over the last 20 minutes because, my god, I straightened my hair, tried to set up the camera in the other room, meanwhile I had hiccups the whole time, finally managed to get rid of my hiccups, set up my camera to find out that the lighting was way too dark because it's the greyest day ever outside. So moved in here, but I tried to change my top to fix the lighting, that didn't work, had to change back, so my hair's not really straight anymore, but it's fine. Moved in here and now I feel like it's a little bit better just because the background's supposed to be dark in here anyway, do you know what I mean? Like, it's navy walls, it's gonna be dark. So yeah. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Hopefully you've seen the little clip that explains why my background is a little bit different today, but it's just a very grey, cozy day today, so I'm working with what I have. But I'm really excited for today's video because it's all about university hacks and just ways to make uni a bit easier for yourself and just things that I wish I had known. Like, I wish this video had existed year 1, year 2 of university. By year 3 I kind of figured it out, but it would have been a huge helping hand to have some of these tips going into university. So I'm going to kind of section it off with like essay research and then kind of just more generic university tips, just that way I feel like we'll get the most value out of it. There'll be a bit of cohesion, a little bit of structure, and everyone knows what they're doing. Okay, so starting off with like the essay research style tips, the first thing I think you usually learn is that you can go 10% over or under on your research. Now most people have this in sixth forms and things like that anyway when they're doing coursework, but I think it's so important to bear in mind because I cannot tell you the amount of times I've been writing an essay and I'm like 300 words over or like 20 words under and I'm like stressing because I think it's got to be on the dot. Really doesn't have to, and sometimes that can really work in your favour. I always tried to go over the word limit because I just felt like if you were allowed 10% over, why wouldn't you use that to kind of explain yourself a bit more and try and get yourself some more points. But when it came to my dissertation, obviously that's a 10,000 word essay, so I could write what, like 1,000 less words. I could write like, no, is that wrong? What's 10% of 1,000? Why can't I do maths? Jesus. Yeah, 1,000 words. I could write 1,000 words less than I was supposed to, which was a huge help, especially because my dissertation was so difficult and I didn't think I'd ever finish it in my life, but really it was a 9,000 word essay rather than a 10,000 word essay. So pretty obvious for most people, I'm sure, but just something to bear in mind if you are a stress head like me, especially when it comes to like the finer details and trying to meet your criteria and get the best grades. You really don't need to stress that much about your word count because you have some fluctuation in there. Okay, so my next tip is something I also found out when writing my dissertation, but my god, it would have helped so much if I had known it sooner. It was actually my dissertation supervisor who told me about it, and it's these websites that have like essay starter sentences. Like, they give you all the starts of sentences, whether that's describing, comparative, or you're trying to find like a link between something. They have loads of different starter sentences and you can literally either copy and paste them straight across, finish off the sentence with your own work, or just use them as inspiration. Sometimes they'll have a word in there or a phrase in there that you're like, oh my god, that makes so much sense, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And it just helps with, like, obviously when you're writing an essay, it's a big document and it can be super intimidating, and sometimes you do get word block or you just get a bit stuck and like you've used however 15,000 times. So sometimes it helps to have an essay starter website. Just like, I'll leave a list of them below because there's so many, but I used the Manchester University one. Didn't go to Manchester University, went to the University of Greenwich, but the Manchester University one was very, very helpful and very like thorough. It had loads of different kind of tabs and breakdowns to really help you start off and get to grips with your essay, which I found super helpful and again just helped when I was stuck. My next tip is Google Scholar. How did I not know about this? I didn't find out about Google Scholar until year 2, and it's basically Google, obviously, but for scholars, like for people writing essays literally, which means you just type in like Google Scholar to Google and it'll bring up that search engine. It's kind of like a bit different from Google, I guess, in the sense like anything you then type in, it's going to give you an academic journal or a conference or something like that instead of like a blog post, if you will, which just makes things so much easier. And you can specify by like what kind of journal you're looking for or what date you want, like what years you're looking for, which helps things out so much. Because before I was only ever using the university library. We had an online library and a physical one, so I was just using that to find data and research and collect it all, and it was fine, but obviously the university has limited resources. Google, on the other hand, has a lot of stuff on there, which really helped, and I just found that it made researching so much easier because I had more than 2 places to check. I had 3 places to check, and one of those places was just so wide in its breadth of stuff on there, and you could really type in whatever you want and adjust it however you want, which made it really easy to like tailor it to your exact essay, which obviously helps boost up your grades. So with that, I kind of want to talk about smart researching for a second. Now, I don't know if this is an actual thing or just something I've coined it. I call it smart researching, but it's basically using your keywords to do your research and then swapping those keywords out. So before you start your essay, think about like what the 3 keywords in your essay title are. So say you're doing oh frick, I don't know, let's use my dissertation example. So you were doing how gender influences the motivation to attend conferences. So you'd have gender, motivation, and conferences would be your 3 keywords. Then I would write out those 3 keywords like separately and write a list of all of the different variants of those keywords. So like gender is pretty much gender, but you could type in gender, male, female, demographic, all of those kind of things, break those down. And then motivation, incentive, push-pull, Maslow, whatever, you could write down theories, anything like that. And that basically just means instead of only being able to research 3 keywords and being stuck with all of the resources under there, you end up with like 12 keywords which you can mix and join and piece together and use singly or together to like make it even more tailored to your essay. And it just helps you find so many more resources, because obviously not everyone calls things the same. Some people call it a conference, some people may call it an exhibition, some people may call it a meeting. So it's just so much easier to find extra information, which is obviously very helpful, because kind of the more research and the more articles you have and the more knowledge you have around the area, the higher your grade is going to be, and your reference list is going to look bomb by the end of it. My next researching tip is to keep a quote bank. Now obviously everybody works differently, but the way I liked to do it was I would find a research article through Google Scholar or whatever, read through it, and I would copy and paste across the like 1 sentence or 2 sentences that word to do with what I wanted, or like, oh, I could use that. I would copy and paste that into a Word document and keep a note of what article it was from with a hyperlink to that article, and that just gave me a word bank, like a quote bank of all of the things I needed, which meant when it came to writing my essay, I didn't have to do like flick between 7, 8, 9, 10 different web links and tabs. I had it all in one place, and I could literally go through it quote by quote and kind of figure out where that would fit in with my structure and put one quote, I'll shove that in the conclusion, I'll put that in, I don't know, the second paragraph, whatever have you. It really helped, and you could kind of see how they all kind of fit together. Kind of like doing a puzzle, I guess. I had all of the pieces laid out, and then it was just really easy to like go click them into place, you know? So that definitely helped. Obviously I didn't copy and paste the quote from the quote bank into my work, because you have to like paraphrase it and adapt it into your own knowledge and study and writing, as I'm sure you all know. Don't get plagiarized, that ain't good. But yeah, I just kept a quote bank. It was a huge file, it took up a lot of space. I definitely backed it up, because if I had lost that, I literally put hours and hours of reading and like research into that one document. So definitely back it up, but it just makes things so much easier depending on how you work, obviously. But I just found it was a little bit less chaotic, and I just had like a one-stop shop for all of my quotes and essays and references. My last researching tip, again, completely depends on what kind of studier you are, but my next researching tip is little and often. So for me, I found that if I studied every day for 2 hours, that was fine. I would be able to write what I wanted, I would get mostly good grades, I could input what I wanted in those 2 hours and kind of research and a little bit more, read a little bit more, paraphrase things, reword things, and I didn't feel like I got in a slump or bored or stale or dull or any of those things, because I was just doing it for a little bit, and then I'd go and like watch TV or hang out with my friends or whatever, and I would start literally like 3 months, 2 months sometimes before the deadline. So there are other people, obviously, like one of my best friends is like this, or my mum was like this, in terms like give them 5 days, they'll crank out that 3,000 word essay and it will be top notch, and they just literally cram for those 3-5 days, however long. But I'm just not that person. I just physically can't do that. My brain gets so tired, and I'm not sure if that's just me being weak or a bad student or what have you, but when people study for like 7-8 hours non-stop, I physically can't do that. I just know by the 4th hour maybe my words and everything like that just becomes a lot less, like the standard drops drastically. So I just did little and often, and it just meant I could spend my time how I wanted. I had a bit more of like a study work life balance, I guess, and it just helped me kind of make a routine and schedule it in so that I would have my essay ready before, if not on the due date. Moving more into uni hacks about just like student life, because obviously everyone's new to uni student life, no one's done it before necessarily unless you're returning to uni, but most of us are freshers, first, second years, what have you, and a lot of this goes like unsaid or just things that you don't really figure out until a bit later on. So I just wanted to give you a little head start with some of these tips. So my first one is to check out the bursaries. If you've been on my channel before, you would know I talk a lot about bursaries, but it's because the university is willing to give you free money and they don't often promote it, brag about it. They're not going to be like, hey, come get your free money. So you really have to keep an eye out, do your research, look into the bursaries and see if you qualify for one. I say this because I did qualify for one, and for my first year of university they didn't tell me that I was entitled to a bursary of £2,000, which would have helped a huge amount with my expenses and my rent and my bills and everything like that. It would just have helped so much. I did obviously get it back. I managed to retain it, get it back after having a conversation with the bursary team, but yeah, if I had never had that conversation I would never have got that money. So definitely look into it. I think it's so worth it, especially if you're going to a university in London, or just university in general is expensive, but obviously London, any extra bit of money can help. So just please look into it, because you never know, you might qualify for something. My next tip can be super intimidating, but it's just to make yourself known and to get engaged with the lecturers. Now what I mean by this is like when you're in a lecture, ask questions, let them know what your name is, email them, ask them questions after class, like compliment on them on the outfit, whatever it is. Just make your face and your name known so that when they come to marking it and you emailing them for help or emailing them for support and like all of that kind of spiel, they're going to be so much more willing to help you because you've given them your time and like made an effort with them, so they'll be willing to do the same back. If you're MIA for the whole course and then, I don't know, a week before your deadline for an essay you're like, oh my gosh, I need help, I don't understand, they're probably not going to be very willing to help you. Whereas if you make yourself known, build up a relationship with your lecturer, I just find like you get so much more out of student life and university life as well as through your work, because not only do you have an ally and a support system there at the university itself, you also have someone to help support you with your essays. My next tip is to check out the societies, the workshops, the schemes, all of the like extras your university has or offers. Obviously they take up some time and not everyone's keen for it, but they look really great on your CV, and it also will introduce you to so many new people, maybe even a new hobby, get you some new networking contacts that you can use in the future. And I just think it's one of the ways you can really make the most out of uni by like getting yourself involved in all different areas. So I was part of the Events Management Society, I also took part in the mentoring scheme, and we did have to attend a few workshops in first year. I think it was like mandatory that we had to do it, but it just introduced us to going to workshops and learning some extra skills and things like that. So I would definitely say look into it, have a look around. Obviously you don't have to do all of them or like commit yourself to like 40 hours of workshops or what have you, but maybe once a week or something, or get yourself involved in something that looks interesting, perhaps in a society. It will just help you kind of make the most of your life and help you not feel as isolated as sometimes you can, especially if you're like moving to a new city. My next uni hack is for all of you homesick people out there. I get that moving to uni is hard. It's a hard transition, especially for someone who personally doesn't like being alone very often. I really struggled moving to uni by myself and not knowing anyone, so I would definitely say reach out to your old friends. They're going to be more than happy to talk to you. Obviously you've been friends for ages or what have you, you have all those memories to look back on, and they'll be in the same boat probably if they've gone to university, or they'll just be missing you if they're still at home and you've gone to university. So definitely reach out to your friends, meet up, plan weekends at each other's flats, houses, apartments, what have you, and just keep in touch, because I just find that's a really good way to kind of stay connected with home and not feel so isolated in your new city. But yeah, they are all my uni hacks that I have for you. I hope they made sense in terms of like the essay and researching ones, which I think help so much and honestly boost your grade so much. I will definitely be doing a video in the future all about how to boost your grade to get a first in your degree, but for now they were just some of my uni hacks which I wish I had known in first year. They took some time and some trial and error to figure out, so I wanted to share that with you now, having graduated and seeing the proof in the pudding, or whatever the phrase is. So yeah, I wanted to share those with you. And in terms of uni life, I have shared some of those before, but I just find it really important and definitely a way to kind of get your head around uni a lot quicker. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Sorry for the change of scenery, but hopefully it's a little bit of a refresh, a little bit something new. Hopefully you liked this video, and if you did, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe down below, because I'm currently posting 3 videos a week. So if you're bored, sat at home looking for some more content to watch, hit that subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you very soon. Bye.